Welcome to Season 2 of Shahnameh Quest. We begin where we last left off in the epic, the succession from King Nowzar to his son Nowzar. With the mourning period for the much-beloved and righteous Nowzar now past, Iran enters the reign of King Nowzar, the Shahnameh's 8th king. And right away it's clear that Nowzar is a different kind of ruler than we've seen in the mythical age. Though he still reveres the throne, and especially his father Nowzar, Nowzar is guided far more by transactional favoritism than by any moral or righteous cause. Nowzar's first act as king is to bribe the nobles and troops with gold and silver coins, securing their effusive love and allegiance. But this favoritism has immediate consequences, as word spreads throughout the kingdom of Nowzar's corruption and injustice. Ferdowsi describes how the mood of the kingdom turns to lament and outrage, with the strain causing men's hair to turn white. But in response, King Nowzar doubles down, resorting to harsher tactics to secure his position, rather than listening graciously to his people's concerns. The peasants rise to challenge the king, and Nowzar cracks down hard, creating an increasingly unstable kingdom. When civil unrest reaches a boiling point, King Nowzar panics and writes an urgent letter to Sam, who is fighting in the northern Iranian province of Mazandaran. Nowzar begins by recalling how gloriously Nowzar spoke of Sam, and that his father's final counsel was to seek Sam's guidance in times of trouble. He confesses that he has lost his grip on the kingdom, and desperately commands Sam to return at once to restore order by the brute force of his ox-headed mace. If Sam fails to act, the throne itself may fall. Sam receives the letter and sighs in frustration and disappointment. But dutifully, he orders his army to leave the battlefield and march to Nowzar's aid, prepared to crush the dissenting voices. But on the ride back to the palace, Sam is intercepted by a group of Iranian nobles who have come to tell him the truth about Nowzar's reign, that it is the king himself who has brought chaos and instability upon the land, betraying the glorious legacy of Nowzar. They tell Sam that Nowzar has made the earth into a desert. The king has no fad. God's grace has left him. Then the nobles make an offer to Sam. Why don't you become king instead, great champion of Iran? You possess the fortune, the wisdom, and the strength to lead. We would proudly serve you and pledge our lives, as would the whole kingdom. And so Sam faces a difficult dilemma. He asks, would God approve of such an act? To usurp the throne from Nowzar, who carries royal blood, and claim it for myself? Impossible. That would be treason. If Nowzar is unjust, perhaps it is only inexperience. He can learn to rule properly. I will teach him. And so Sam continues onward to answer his king's call. But he will soon confront the reality of the situation, whether he wishes to or not. And that moment will prove defining for the future of Nowzar's reign, and indeed for the Shahnameh itself. For all this while, Iran's enemies in the kingdom of Turan have been quietly watching for a sign of weakness to exploit in war. As Season 2 unfolds, we will see the Iran-Turan rivalry come fully into shape, dominated by the prolonged presence of Afrasiab, Iran's arch-nemesis, soon to become the king of Turan. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it or leave a review. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more Shahnameh Quest.